The on-demand pricing proposal, on-demand provides an alternative to mandatory weekly service, which was in the original proposal, and addressed some of the low-volume waste producers' concerns. The on-demand pricing proposal considers theft of service incentives and past abuses of the Tag-It-All system. It will require additional staff time to administer, and by both the city and collection staff, that it is directly attributable to the service, and it's not related at all to the per unit costs of garbage produced. True low-volume waste producers will realize a cost savings over weekly service producers, and staff can reevaluate these costs for this on-demand option once some history is developed. We just don't have anything to go by at this point. It's uncharted waters.
So Tim, with regard to that second to the last bullet point, is it still the case though in this recent proposal that if an on-demand user put out 3 cans in a month, they would be paying more than the full month service person who had just 3 cans?
Correct.
So they would be realize the savings as long as they didn't put out more than 3 cans.
Correct.
Okay, thanks.
2 or less.
Well,
2 or
you
less.
Or
mean,
less.
Yeah, 3 is
you mean
still-
service 3 times a week instead of 2 times a week. It's
No,
not the
A
number of
month.
cans.
A month.
month.
Right.
Here's the pricing breakdown. 35-gallon weekly service is $17.65 per month. That's for a 35-gallon roll cart picked up once a week. Of that, $11.25 is the base, $6.40 is the volume portion. 65-gallon is $23.15, same base, $11.90 for the volume. 95-gallon, $28.65, same base, $17.40 for the volume. The proposed on-demand option fees down below are $12.95 and for the base and $1.95 per service. And then there's some examples there on the right of what once, twice, and three times a month services would look like.
And the on-demand is only available in the 35-gallon cart size.
Correct. Questions?
Thank you, Tim. Council members, questions for Tim? Tom?
I'd have to ask my question with the previous slide put back up. So you're now saying 1125 instead of 1150? Earlier we saw 1150, I think, as the base.
1150 was bandied about. It was never my number.
Okay. So I did some math on these rates, and it feels like that not only are the people that are generating less trash paying a higher base fee, but then they're also paying a higher per gallon fee. If you run through the numbers, you end up they end up paying a much higher per gallon fee for waste generated, which to me seems doubly unfair, because people that are doing the right thing are not being charged, more on one level and then more on the other level. And so I went through it and came up with a different proposal, which I sent around earlier. I think I sent you last week and then sent to some others. But looking at, I was using 1150 as the base rate, but 1125 is even better. My preference would be to continue to use the same base fee for the folks. The trucks are still going by. There's still all of the same costs that are involved in terms of the general costs of the system that those people are realizing. They're still getting the same benefits of having the truck going by, having the garbage available, having the curbside recycling, all of those kinds of things. If you put in I think it came out to $1.44 for a per container rate, although I'm generally in favor of higher per container rates because I think that's really the way you set incentive in for people to reduce their waste. But if you did $1.44 plus the 12 or the 11.50 or 11.25, I guess, then you're coming out to, that would be about the rate for once monthly service. I came up with $12.94, but if it's 25 cents less, then it would be, you know, like $12.70 or something like that. I think the way it's set up right now, you know, a person that's getting it 3 times a week or 3 times a month, they're ending up paying more than somebody that's just signing up for, you know, a 35, you know, regular pickup. Now, I would agree that there's probably some administration, some looking and, you know, oh, you know, people having to pay attention. I rode around on a garbage truck for a day, you know, it's not that much time, but it was a day, and definitely saw the, you know, the commitment and the level of work and so forth by the folks that are riding around participating and, you know, picking up trash, dumping them. They know what they're doing. There's a lot of effort that's out there. But I think that there's, over time, I think that there's a lot of opportunity for people to, you know, reduce waste and figure out what they're doing. So my preference would be that we pick rates that aren't penalizing people that are reducing the amount of trash they're putting out there. And I feel like by having both a higher base rate and a higher per container or per gallon rate, then we're taking away any potential savings that somebody might benefit from. We do it with water. You know, if people generate a higher amount of water, or use a higher amount of water, they pay a higher rate for each gallon that they're consuming over certain rates. So, I don't know. I mean, I think we certainly have time in the future that we can relook at rates, but I think we're starting off charging a rate that's too high. And my only preference would be to, you know, maintain the same base rate and an equitable per gallon rate.
Okay, I think Sue, I saw your hand next.
Oh, Tim, the smallest dumpster is what, 1 yard?
The
smallest?
mechanical containers,
Yeah.
correct, yes, 1 yard.
And how does that equivalent in gallons, like a 95-gallon container? Or
202 gallons.
202 gallons, okay. But the reason I'm asking is I look at my garbage bill and I pay, I think people who recycle are going to recycle anyway, but that's part of the discussion. But I just wanted to know because I pay $80 a month.
Mechanical
one.
containers are considered commercial.
I know,
Whether
it's
they're
totally
used for
different, but
housing,
I'm
and
just-
it's used at a different rate. It's computed at a higher rate per yard as opposed to residential
I know, I
waste.
just feel like when we're talking about quarters and $1.50, when I'm looking at $80, this is chump change. I think we want to do a public service and we're starting to get really picky. But
think
anyway, that's for
another-
discussion. My question was gallons to dumpsters. That's
Another
what I wanted.
point that I want to bring back from the rate study that I think really surprised some folks, as well as I, was that residential customers make up 89% of all the accounts that the city operates with for refuse, but only 22% of the volume. So we're talking about a small percent of the volume.
How much in dollars, percentage? Do you have that?
I don't.
Because that'd be an interesting thing too, is, you know, commercial versus residential as far as the dollars and how that relates, you know, the time you spend on those accounts, you know, that there's reasons why these rates are plugged in there.
Absolutely.
Walter?
Tom, I need to check with you and make sure I understand. You've got $17.23 for an on-demand 4 times a month. Is that correct?
Let's see, let me, 17,
$17.65.
1765 is the 35
No,
gallon
no,
week.
I didn't ask you that.
Oh, what's the
If
question?
I have an on-demand cart, play the bass, and then put it out 4 times a month, what's it gonna cost me?
For the rate that I would propose?
Yes.
1582. That's assuming 1150.
Why would anybody take a 35-gallon cart on a monthly basis? If I can take it on demand and put it out the same number of times and do it for less
No,
money?
no, 3.
Says here
What do you
4.
On here, I showed, you said, I was asking for 4.
Oh, for 4. I didn't calculate for 4 because
Yeah, you
that's
did.
the same as the,
Tom says it's on your sheet.
oh, I didn't, well, that's somebody else's memo. That's not what I
That's my
said.
memorandum,
That's his
Walter. I
memo.
just did
So
it.
what would a 4 be?
Well, I didn't calculate that.
Can you do the math right now? I'll wait.
Well, yeah, if I can see it. I didn't bring my reading glasses with me.
Excuse me, it might help if Tim just explained how he came up with that number.
Yeah, I don't know why Tim came up with that number, but I didn't calculate it out because I was going with
I
different.
think you were, it looks to me like you were using 1150 base,
I was.
Plus
but
$1.40?
He's saying 1125.
plus $1.40, will it be even less then? Plus $1.44 per each week. So 4 144s plus 1150, I believe, is 1723. And then if you went to 1125, it'd drop it down another dollar, making it 1623.
Well, right, so
Where
there
a single 35-gallon can to be picked up every week is 1765. Why would anybody take a 35-gallon container to be picked up all the time?
Well, when I calculated, I was using 4.33 weeks per month. Right, because it's,
Which is what it is.
right, which is what it is.
I
So
still
I was making
I
it
still-
even.
I still
was-
think-
I was making it even. I wasn't
If I
creating.
may, I think, my point I'm trying to make is, I think you're creating an on-demand option that is less expensive than taking a 35-gallon can to be picked up every week.
Well, I'm trying
And
to
if
make
you,
it.
and if you do that, then you might as well throw out the 35-gallon monthly service fee, because nobody would take it if they understood it.
Walter, what I was doing was calculating it for the same cost, not for less cost. If I did the math wrong, then let's fix it and make it be the same. My issue is that the way it is right now, by the time somebody gets the 3 cans per month pickup, they're being charged more than the people that are just
And
having
that-
it picked up
And-
whenever.
And if I may, and the reason for that is because we were trying to respond to people that said, I only put out a can once every 5 or 6 weeks. So we set up a way that they could do that and save themselves money. We were not trying to meet people who were running 3 or 4 cans a month and may or may not put one out occasionally. We weren't trying to move it to on demand. We were trying to provide a service for the true tag-it-all people, to give them what they were telling us they had and would
Right.
like to keep.
Well, then what we should do is do it that way, but then use the same base rate rather than having a higher base rate. And just have the incentive be in the per container rate.
Let me just
And just
finish
have a
and then
higher
I'll
per
get-
container rate.
Wayne's good. Tim's explained why it has to be higher, because of the administrative cost of keeping up with it all.
But I don't see that that's,
Gail and I have been on tag system ever since the tag system came into existence, because we put out a can every other week. So she and I had the conversation. I said, well, if we're gonna do that, and we'll put it out twice a week, it costs us $16.85 a month using your figures, right, Tim? Okay. But I said, but, every once in a while, if the kids come home, we might have to put one out 3 times a month, or around Christmas time, maybe every week. I said, crying out loud, $17.65, just do it every week, or $16.85 for twice, that's nothing. That's 60 cents or 80 cents. I said, seems to me the simple thing is we'll just take the $17.65, 35-gallon, and we recycle the heck out of stuff. This conversation is about, I think Sue said, chump change. I think we did a great thing by going to an on-demand option system for folks that really wanted to keep the tag system. That was a big leap right there. There is administrative cost to it. And I'm not willing to subsidize people that are going to try to take a little lesser cost of 50 or 60 cents a month, or Tom, if you want to lower it more, to incentivize people to use less garbage and do more recycling. But you're not going to do that. If you could make it $25 or $30 a month, maybe you would. Recycling is being done because it's the right thing to do. It's not done because it's cheaper. Recycling is a pain in the rear. But we do it because it's the right thing to do, because we want to see things cleaned up, we want to see less waste, we want to see less garbage. Folks that don't recycle, they just need to be better educated. You can't get them to do it by hitting them in their pocketbooks. We've been talking about this thing for months. We've had staff time that's gone on end trying to come up with something and working with pennies and quarters to try and make us happy to what we think we're going to make everybody happy all the time. Not going to happen, folks. We're going to have some people that are not going to be happy. So you know what? I'm ready to close this thing off tonight, take this rate structure we've got, and let's move forward.